Have you ever found yourself clinging to a relationship, a job, or a moment in life, only to feel trapped by the weight of your own emotions? What if there was a way to let go, not with indifference, but with grace and clarity? Welcome to this journey of self-discovery and emotional resilience. Today, we'll explore the timeless wisdom of Stoic philosophy, uncovering 5 transformative rules that can help you navigate life's emotional challenges without losing your inner peace. From the teachings of Marcus Aurelius to practical examples, these lessons will empower you to detach, not from love or meaning, but from the unnecessary suffering we so often carry. If you're new here, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and join us on this path of growth and mindfulness. Let's begin this meaningful conversation. Rule 1. Embrace the impermanence of life. The Stoics often remind us that life is like a river, always moving, never static. One of their most profound teachings is to embrace the impermanence of all things. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, writes, "Everything is ephemeral, both the memory of the person who lived and the things they cared about." This simple truth invites us to see life not as something we can possess, but as a series of fleeting moments to be experienced with presence and gratitude. There was a time when I worked closely with a mentor whose wisdom and guidance profoundly shaped my career and personal growth. For years, this relationship felt indispensable, like a cornerstone of my life. But as our paths naturally diverged, I found myself clinging to the past, yearning for what had been. The transition was painful. I resisted, trying to preserve a dynamic that no longer served either of us. It was then that Marcus Aurelius's words echoed in my mind: receive without pride, let go without attachment. This wisdom helped me to see the beauty of the season we had shared, without lamenting its end. Relationships, like all things in life, are not ours to own, they are gifts for a time. By recognizing the impermanence of our connection, I was able to honor it with gratitude and release it with grace. The Stoics teach that our suffering often stems not from the changes themselves, but from our refusal to accept them. Seneca put it beautifully: "No man steps into the same river twice, for it is not the same river, and he is not the same man." Life's flow demands that we adapt and embrace its transient nature, not with despair, but with awe for its ever-changing beauty. Through this lens, embracing impermanence becomes a practice of liberation. It frees us from the chains of fear and regret. When we stop clutching at the sands of time, we realize that the present moment, however fleeting, holds everything we truly need. Instead of fearing loss, we learn to celebrate what we have while we have it. By allowing impermanence to guide our perspective, we cultivate an attitude of presence and resilience. Whether it is a cherished relationship, a phase in life, or a fleeting moment of joy, we learn to say, "This, too, will pass," not as a lament, but as a reminder to treasure the now without resistance to what is to come. Ultimately, this practice brings us closer to tranquility, the ultimate goal of Stoicism. As Epictetus reminds us, he is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has. In this way, embracing impermanence is not about letting go. It is about holding on lightly, savoring each moment, and trusting in the rhythm of life's constant flow. Rule 2. Master your emotions through rational thought. The Stoics teach that while we cannot always control what happens to us, we can control how we respond. Our emotions, they say, are not dictated by external events, but by our judgments about those events. Marcus Aurelius wisely observed, "If you are pained by any external thing, it is not this thing that disturbs you, but your own judgment about it, and it is in your power to wipe out this judgment now." I remember a moment during a critical team project when I received unexpected feedback from a colleague. Their critique was pointed and, at first glance, seemed harsh. My initial reaction was a mix of defensiveness and frustration. I assumed their comments reflected disdain for my work, and the sting of perceived rejection clouded my judgment. Yet, as I sat with those feelings, I remembered the Stoic practice of questioning my own interpretations. Was their feedback truly an attack? Or was I projecting my insecurities onto their words? Taking a step back, I analyzed the situation objectively. The feedback was constructive, focused on specific areas for improvement, and ultimately aimed at enhancing the project's success. The problem was not their critique, but my interpretation of it. As Seneca reminds us, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. By replacing my emotional assumptions with a rational analysis, I transformed what felt like a personal affront into a valuable opportunity for growth. This experience taught me that emotions, while powerful, are not immutable truths. They are signals, shaped by how we perceive and interpret the world. To master our emotions, we must master our thoughts. Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This underscores the Stoic belief that rationality is the key to emotional equanimity. When we pause to interrogate the stories we tell ourselves, when we separate fact from fiction, we regain our footing amidst emotional turbulence. A colleague's critique is not inherently a personal attack. A missed opportunity is not inherently a failure. By reframing our perspectives, we can see challenges not as threats, but as teachers. Over time, this practice becomes a shield against the emotional storms of life. It allows us to approach difficulties with calmness and clarity, turning potential conflicts into pathways for deeper understanding. By anchoring ourselves in rational thought, we not only temper our emotions but also foster resilience and wisdom. In the end, the Stoics offer us a profound gift, the understanding that we are not slaves to our emotions. With deliberate practice, we can learn to pause, reflect, and respond with intention. As Marcus Aurelius beautifully concluded, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. And in this strength lies the quiet, unshakable foundation of a well-lived life." Rule 3. Practice negative visualization. Life's uncertainties are a constant reminder of the Stoic principle to prepare our minds for loss and change. Negative visualization, or premeditatio malorum as the Stoics called it, is not a practice of dwelling on doom but of grounding ourselves in reality. Seneca eloquently advises, "He robs present ills of their power who has beforehand rehearsed their coming." This mental preparation does not diminish the joy of life. It amplifies it by teaching us to treasure what we have while we have it. I recall the years I spent with my dog, a loyal companion whose presence brought boundless joy to my life. From the day I brought him home, I was acutely aware of the transient nature of our time together. Dogs, unlike us, live shorter lives, and their impermanence is a stark reminder of life's fragile beauty. Occasionally, I would imagine the day when he would no longer be at my side. At first, this thought filled me with sorrow, but over time, it became a tool for deep appreciation. Each walk, each wag of his tail, and each quiet evening spent together became more precious because I allowed myself to confront the inevitability of his absence. When the day came to say goodbye, the pain was profound, yet it was accompanied by gratitude. The practice of negative visualization had not shielded me from grief, but had given me the strength to meet it with grace and a heart full of cherished memories. This exercise, though difficult, aligns perfectly with Marcus Aurelius's counsel. Begin each day by telling yourself, "Today I shall be meeting with interference, ingratitude, disloyalty, ill will, and selfishness, all of them due to the offender's ignorance of what is good or evil." By contemplating potential difficulties, we arm ourselves not with despair, but with readiness and clarity. The beauty of negative visualization lies in its paradox. By imagining the absence of what we hold dear, we come to appreciate its presence more profoundly. This is not pessimism, but a profound realism that enriches our lives. Seneca reminds us, "Expecting the worst prepares a man for the worst, and strengthens his soul against the vagaries of fortune." In practicing this, we gain not only emotional resilience, but also a renewed sense of gratitude. Each moment becomes an opportunity to love more deeply, to act more kindly, and to live more fully. By imagining the loss of a loved one, we are moved to express our affection while we can. By contemplating the fragility of health, we are inspired to cherish our vitality and care for our bodies. Ultimately, negative visualization is not about loss but about presence. It sharpens our focus on the here and now, teaching us to embrace life's fleeting beauty with open eyes and an open heart. As Epictetus teaches, don't demand that things happen as you wish, but wish that they happen as they do, and you will go on well. And in this acceptance, we find the true essence of resilience and the profound joy of being fully alive. Rule 4. Focus on what you can control. Life often tempts us to extend our influence beyond our reach, luring us into the illusion that we can control the emotions, actions, or decisions of others. The Stoics, however, remind us of a liberating truth. Our power lies solely within our own minds and actions. As Epictetus succinctly states, some things are up to us, and some things are not. This distinction is a cornerstone of emotional freedom and resilience. I recall a friendship that once brought joy but gradually became a source of frustration. Despite my consistent efforts to stay connected, sending messages, arranging meetups, and offering support, the response was often lukewarm or non-existent. At first, I felt hurt, questioning my value and whether I had done something wrong. The disappointment consumed me, and I found myself trapped in a cycle of overthinking and self-doubt. One day, I revisited Epictetus's wisdom. It is not the things themselves that disturb people, but their judgments about these things. Was the lack of reciprocity truly a reflection of my worth? Or was it simply a matter of the other person's priorities and capacity? I realized I was investing my energy in something beyond my control, their actions, and neglecting what was within my control, my own responses and choices. By shifting my focus inward, I found clarity. I began to nurture relationships where the connection was mutual and fulfilling, instead of dwelling on one that had grown one-sided. This decision did not arise from resentment, but from an understanding that I could not dictate the outcome of someone else's engagement. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Indeed, that strength brought a profound sense of peace. This principle extends beyond personal relationships. Whether it is a work project, a family conflict, or a societal issue, the Stoics teach us to focus our energy on what we can influence. Seneca advises, the greatest blessings of mankind are within us and within our reach. A wise man is content with his lot, whatever it may be, without wishing for what he has not. By anchoring ourselves in this mindset, we avoid the turbulence of trying to control what lies beyond our grasp. Letting go of external control does not mean apathy. It means aligning our efforts with reality. When we release the need to dictate outcomes, we free ourselves to act with intention and clarity, unburdened by the fear of failure or rejection. The result is not passivity but empowerment, a state where our actions are guided by purpose rather than anxiety. Ultimately, the wisdom of Stoicism teaches us that freedom is not found in controlling others, but in mastering ourselves. By focusing on our thoughts, actions, and values, we reclaim our inner peace and chart a path of authenticity and strength. As Epictetus reminds us, make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens. In this practice, we find the quiet power to navigate life's complexities with grace and balance. Rule 5. Reflect on the bigger picture. In the rush and tumult of daily life, it's easy to become ensnared by the intensity of our emotions, treating each setback as if it defines us entirely. Yet the Stoics teach us to zoom out, to see our struggles not as isolated disasters, but as small moments within the vast tapestry of our lives. Marcus Aurelius, reflecting on the nature of existence, wrote, "Consider how quickly all things are dissolved and resolved, the bodies and substances themselves into the elements, and their causes into rational principles." I recall a time when I lost a job I deeply cherished, a position that had shaped my identity and given me a sense of purpose. The news felt like a blow, and for days, I was engulfed in grief and uncertainty. Questions of self-worth loomed large. What had I done wrong? Would I ever find something as fulfilling again? It was a storm of doubt and fear. But gradually, I turned to the Stoic practice of reflection. Marcus Aurelius's words reminded me of the impermanence of all things, even the roles and titles we hold dear. Time is like a river made up of the events which happen, and a violent stream. For as soon as a thing has been seen, it is carried away, and another comes in its place, and this will be carried away too. I began to see my loss not as an endpoint, but as a transition, a part of life's ever-flowing current. Stepping back, I reflected on the broader picture of my life. What had this role taught me? What new opportunities might emerge now that this chapter had closed? In time, I saw that the loss was clearing a path for growth. Months later, I found a position that not only aligned more deeply with my values, but also offered greater fulfillment than I had imagined possible. What initially felt like an insurmountable setback had become a stepping stone to something far greater. The Stoics remind us that life's challenges are rarely as catastrophic as they seem in the moment. Seneca, with his characteristic clarity, writes, "No one is crushed by misfortune unless they have first been deceived by prosperity." This perspective invites us to see trials as opportunities to build resilience and wisdom. By reflecting on the bigger picture, we soften the sharp edges of our suffering and find meaning in the midst of change. When we zoom out and adopt a wider perspective, we begin to see life as a series of interconnected moments, each serving its role in the grander scheme. A relationship's end, a career change, or a personal failure no longer appears as a collapse, but as part of a larger unfolding. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it." By choosing to view life's events as transient and purposeful, we reclaim a sense of peace and direction. Ultimately, reflecting on the bigger picture doesn't negate our struggles. It transforms how we carry them. It allows us to see beyond the immediate pain and recognize the seeds of growth within our challenges. In doing so, we not only reduce our emotional suffering, but also cultivate a deeper sense of gratitude for the journey as a whole. Life, in all its unpredictability, becomes not a source of despair, but a canvas for resilience, learning, and growth. Emotional detachment, as the Stoics teach us, is not about hardening our hearts, it's about softening our grip on things we cannot control. By embracing the impermanence of life, mastering our thoughts, and focusing on what truly matters, we find not only resilience, but also a profound sense of peace. So, the next time life asks you to let go, pause and reflect. Am I in control of my emotions? Or are they in control of me? Thank you for watching. If this video resonated with you, please like, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe for more thought-provoking insights. And now, I'd love to hear from you. How do you approach emotional detachment in your own life? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's inspire one another. See you in the next video.